Hi, I'm Annie Ives. I'm the Project Officer on Skills for Bees Scotland. Thank you so much to Glenn and Aileen for inviting me to talk, and I'm really sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I first had the pleasure of presenting at NESBReC Recorders Forum when it was an online event in March 2022, which was right at the start of this project that I'm going to talk about. I gave an introduction to the work that we were just starting in the National Park, working to increase long-term bumblebee recording in the Cairngorms. Now, 2 years on, I'm back to let you know how it's gone so far. So I'll begin with a quick recap about what we aim to do with the project Skills for Bees Scotland and why it was needed. The Cairngorms National Park is a very special and unique place, abundant with wildlife, but unfortunately it's under-recorded when it comes to bumblebees. It might sound a little bit trivial at first, but when you consider how vital bumblebees are as insect pollinators, how they enable wildflowers to reproduce, produce seeds and fruits which underpin whole food webs, hopefully you'll appreciate their importance. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but just in case that wasn't enough, in addition to being a keystone species within our natural environment, it's estimated that bumblebees, alongside other insect pollinators, contribute more than £500 million each year to the UK economy through pollination of crops. We know that many bumblebee species are declining across the UK, and 2 species have gone extinct in the last century, and a third of social bumblebee species declined by more than 70% between 1900 and 1980. We expect that some species are also changing their distributions, moving north and to higher altitudes to escape a warming climate, or at least will be in the future. But the lack of recent data for this part of Scotland means we haven't been able to look at how different bumblebee species are managing here. To illustrate, the heat map on the right here shows recording effort across Scotland from all available bumblebee records up until late 2021 when this project started. So it shows the recording intensity across Scotland up until that point. The darker red spots are the kind of hot spots that are already being surveyed, and there are also areas that are completely devoid of any bumblebee records. I think if you look around the Banff area, there's a big gap there. So Skills for Bees Scotland aims to increase long-term bumblebee recording in and around the Cairngorms National Park through a variety of methods, so recruiting, training and supporting volunteers to carry out casual recording, submitting records through local record centres and the iRecord platform online, as well as supporting them to do more standardised monitoring through Bumblebee Conservation Trust's Bee Walk Citizen Science programme, and also to assist with targeted surveys where we're searching for 3 rare or under-recorded species in priority areas that we've identified. So what did we do? Well, for the past 2 years, I've been building key partnerships across the Cairngorms and North East Scotland to engage as much of the current and potential recording community as possible, and to build skills in bumblebee identification in the local communities. We want to invest in people through repeated contact and refreshment training, ongoing support and mentoring for volunteers. NESBReC kindly invited me to deliver some online Bumblebee ID workshops for them in 2022 and 2023. And last year we also ran an in-person ID and surveying event at Forvey National Nature Reserve together. I've also been working very closely with the National Park Authority in the Cairngorms, including training and supporting their conservation staff to carry out bee walks on farms, which you can see in the top middle here at Auchnairn Farm, and running training workshops for the Rangers team, the Volunteer Ranger Service and the Junior Rangers programme. And one of the Junior Rangers is the bottom left photo there, looking at bumblebee through a microscope. The head ranger at Glenlivet Estate, the Crown Estate Scotland, has been really valuable and enthusiastic partner on the project too. We've teamed up for both identification and surveying workshops. We've run target survey days for our rare species on the estate, set up a new bee walk transact there, which is walked by a local volunteer in the community, and they even included a couple of our rare bumblebee species in the artwork on their beautiful Mindfulness Trail, which is the left middle photo here. The project has had some great training events put on and with National Trust for Scotland at Marlodge and Killiecrankie, Blair Atoll Estate, Muir of Dinnet National Nature Reserve, RSPB Abernethy, local community groups, beekeeping clubs, local business owners and individuals, just to name a few. I've written blogs and local journal articles and even recorded a podcast for a community radio station in Moray. So that was the lovely pictures there, but what does it look like in numbers? Well, so far across the course of the 2 years of the project, we've delivered 21 beginners Bumblebee ID workshops, 5 intermediate Bumblebee IDs workshops, where we look at some of our more tricky species or all 20 species found in Scotland. 16 target species survey days searching for rare species, 10 bee walk demonstration events showing how to do the kind of standardized monitoring that's our kind of gold standard at Bumblebee Conservation Trust, plus many more field sessions, project updates and presentations. And overall, we've had 729 attendees at our events, but I'm sure our impact has been wider than that, as well as I know some of the volunteers and attendees have gone on to kind of tell their friends about bumblebees, and it kind of starts off a ripple effect in the area, which is fantastic. But did it all work? How did we do? What's the picture so far? Does it seem as though the on-the-ground training and supporting approach is working well in this area? Well, if we start off with a casual recording, in brief, yes. This graph I nicked from one of my science manager's recent presentations, and it shows bumblebee recording effort on the 2 main online recording platforms. So we have iRecord in blue and iNaturalist in red. Data flow timescales mean these records aren't yet finalised, but preliminary data shows that during the 3 years immediately prior to the project, there were very few bumblebee records made within the project boundary, which is the Cairngorms National Park boundary. So there were 34 records in 2019, 43 in 2020, and 46 in 2021. Since the project began, this is on iRecord, since the project began, the number of records has increased to 171 in 2022 and 246 in 2023, up to the point when this graph was produced. So similarly, the number of different species, so bumblebee diversity has increased in terms of recording. 12 different species were recorded in 2019, 10 in 2020 and 2021. This was before the project. And then 14 different species in 2022. That jumped up to 17 species in 2023. The ID website iNaturalist is also widely used to collate sightings, including by several of our project partners in the area. iNaturalist largely sits outside the UK biological kind of data flow pathway. So again, the data here is preliminary, but the same pattern is evident in terms of recording effort. So there were just 3 sightings submitted in 2016, 4 in 2018, 9 in 2019, 39 in 2020, and 45 in 2021, which is all kind of pre-project. This jumped up to 95 in 2022 and 116 in 2023, up to the point this graph was made. So the picture here of my face crossed out before I was here doing this work in the Cairngorms and after, you can see there's been a significant increase in bumblebee recording effort across these 2 main online recording platforms. So now to look at bee walks in the project area. For those who might not know, Bee Walk is the national monitoring scheme for bumblebee abundance, which is run by Bumblebee Conservation Trust. It aims to gather abundance and distribution data for the UK's bumblebees, to analyse and report on the trends in bumblebee populations over time, and to investigate the cause of changing trends in bumblebees, such as climate change or habitat change. The method involves volunteers walking a monthly 1 to 2 kilometre transect from March to October, on which bumblebees are identified and counted, kind of similar to the butterfly transects that are kind of more well known perhaps. Data is submitted to Bumblebee Conservation Trust via our dedicated Bee Walk website, which is linked to iRecord. So since the Skills for Bees project started, we've established 11 new bee walk transects directly through the project, which are shown in orange, 8 of which submitted data in 2023. I say orange, kind of a reddy orange colour. At the last check, 244 bumblebees of 11 different species had been recorded on these bee walks, including 11 individuals of our scarce target species, Bombus monticola, the Blaeberry bumblebee, and 25 individuals of Bombus soroensis, the broken-belted bumblebee, another scarce species in the area. So this map shows all new bee walk transects established between January 2022 and January 2024, whilst the Skills for Bees project has been active. I don't think I can take credit for all of these dots on the map. However, our postcode analysis of online and in-person Skills for Bees event attendees has shown that, as well as engaging communities in the Cairngorms, we're attracting people from across North East Scotland and the Central Belt to our events too. So the project is having a much wider reach than just the immediate Cairngorms area. So this is the local picture, but in terms of the bigger picture, across the UK, Bee Walk had in 2022 743 volunteer bee walkers who walked 833 transects and counted 208,565 individual bees across the UK. Another ambition of the project was to increase our knowledge of local and scarce bumblebee species in the Cairngorms by carrying out targeted surveys in areas that we'd prioritised based on the presence of the right habitat and conditions, but a lack of any recent or any records at all. So there's still some record verification and data crunching to do in this area for the last 2 years' worth of records. However, we have recorded dozens of Blaeberry bumblebees in new sites across the Cairngorms National Park and beyond. And it seems as though this conservation priority, Scottish biodiversity and UK bat species can be one of the most common bumblebees encountered in this area in the right habitat at the right time of year. So it's scarce across most of the UK and it's a priority species for UK and Scottish governments, but actually in this area we have the right habitat and we're finding them everywhere. The broken-belted bumblebee can be slightly more tricky to identify, but we've run specific short courses, training courses, on how to identify this species and distinguish it from similar species. And personally, I've recorded them in 3 new locations across the Cairngorms, including twice at targeted survey events. So we've recorded them in Ballater in new locations, in on the Glenlivet estate, and also over at Latter. The final target species that we've been looking for is the Moscarda bumblebee, which is a bit more tricky to identify still. So for the Moscarda bumblebee, watch this space. It's hard to ID in the field and it will likely require specimens to confirm identifications in new areas. However, the species has historically been recorded in the Cairngorms and we believe they could also be present in coastal habitats around North East Scotland. So we'll be running more target surveys for Moscarda bees and broken-belted bumblebees in the second half of the summer 2024. So I'd like to thank our funders, including NatureScot, the Cairngorms National Park Authority and Cairngorms Trust, who have supported us financially over the course of the project so far. Hopefully you can see the difference that we've started to make in this area for bumblebee recording and the value of the project that we've had here. Thank you all for listening, and an extra big thanks to any of you who've attended events so far, recorded bumblebees casually, or even set up a bee walk in your local area. I know there's some of you here. If you'd like to find out any more about our project work in this area, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to join in our events this season, please do get in touch. 2024 is currently our final season of the project, but we are looking to extend the work that we're doing here. But there'll be opportunities to get involved in survey days and attend training events throughout this summer season. So please do get in touch if you'd like any more information, or sign up for our project newsletter, which the link here is on the slide here at the bottom. Thanks again and enjoy the rest of your day.